Hey, today we're going to talk about geometric transformations. Well, first let's discuss what in the world is a transformation. Well, in geometry, a transformation is just when you have a shape like this and you move it. And there are different ways that you can move it. You can move it by sliding it, you can move it by rotating it, or you can move it by reflecting it across some line. And finally, you can move it just by shrinking the thing down. Okay, so that's transformations. Some of the vocabulary we want to talk about is, first of all, let's talk about this idea in transformations of something called a pre-image. The pre-image is the original figure. So over here in this picture with the blue and the red, the blue one, the one on the left, is the pre-image. It's the original. And then we copied it and moved it, and we ended up there with what we call the image. So this is the pre-image, and this is the right here, this is the image. So pre-image, image. Whoops, nope, this one would be the pre-image here, and this one is the image. Pre-image, whoops, pre-image, image, and so on. So those vocabulary terms are very important because we talk about, well, which one's the image, which is the pre-image. We talk about that a lot. Prime marks. Okay, so when we label these vertices on something, they have points. And if you start with something called an A, the new point that corresponds to it is also A, but we've got to be able to tell the two apart. So we put this little mark on it, and that's called a prime mark. So A goes to something called A prime, B to B prime, C to C prime. If I move it twice, then A would go to A double prime or triple prime if I move it 3 times. Rigid motion here, rigid motion. All right, so rigid motion is of the 4 transformation types we have, rigid motion only happens with one of them. I mean, with 3 of them. Rigid motion means we move it and the size and the shape of the thing do not change. It remains the same size and the same shape. If it's not rigid motion, then those things can change, and the only time where it's not rigid is in dilation. So this is rigid motion, this is rigid, this is rigid. That just means that from the pre-image to the image, they're exactly the same. Corresponding parts, very quickly, corresponding parts. On the pre-image here, that vertex or that angle, once I dilate this thing and shrink it down, is this one. So these are corresponding angles. And this line here, this side rather, I shrink it down and it's now this side. Those are corresponding sides. So that idea is pretty important. And then we have this thing called composite transformations. And those are the things that you're going to see on your EO integrate test. The composite transformations are when we go from, we move twice. All right. And finally, let's go back here. We call the translation, we can refer to that as a slide. Rotation, we say rotate. Reflections, we say that it has been flipped. And when we dilate, we call that we shrink it or enlarge it. And that's all for this quick introductory video. Thanks so much. Have a great day.